Thank you for taking the time to watch this video demo of Broki CRM. This is a mortgage broker platform specifically for Canadian mortgage brokers. So it's very important to understand that this is not some generic software like Go High Level or Zoho or Salesforce that I've paid to license it and tweaked it. Now I'm reselling it. That is not the case. So with Broki, it's actually built from the ground up. And the only reason why that's super important is we have been improving the platform so fast, and we actually have the ability to keep improving it. All these other mortgage broker CRMs out there that are using other platforms that they're essentially just reselling, they have zero control of the features that are going to be added. And the reason why that's so bad is because those platforms that they're licensing the software off of, they're generic platforms. They're not going to be building it for brokers. They're not looking into broker related features. So without further ado, just wanted to clear that out of the way. Let's dive into what you can do within Broki. So this platform a lot is centered around actually doing your day-to-day operations. So not just lead gen and marketing material, but more so actually dealing with the day-to-day. Now, this is going to be fully integrated with Velocity and Finmo, meaning if there's a Velocity or Finmo application filled out, the file will get automatically created in here, as well as all the contacts, and pull over the mortgage details like mortgage amount, down payment, purchase price, property, all that kind of stuff. So no double entry. Now, in the pipeline tab, this is kind of the bread and butter of your entire platform. This is where you can map out your entire client journey. So there are going to be these stages as default. However, you can customize these however you want. You can add more, you can rename them, you can take some away. However you want to do or outline your process, you can customize it in the settings so your pipeline reflects it. Now, within the pipeline, there's a couple things I want to go over. The cards itself right here, these are the mortgage files. So on the mortgage file, you could see the borrowers that are associated with the file. You'll be able to see the closing date, subject to financing date, and mortgage amount front and center. You'll also see whether it's a purchase, refinance, or switch. And you'll also be able to toggle whether it's A, B, or C, which will change the color along the top just to give you a little indicator of what kind of files you have going on in your pipeline. Now, these two buttons over here, the check mark and the trash can, I'm a firm believer in having a very lean pipeline, meaning if you're not actually working on the file or that client's maybe ghosted you or hasn't been responding, get them out of the active pipeline. There's no point in them being there, but you obviously don't want to delete them either. So that's why we have the archive file feature where you can click the trash can, you can delete the file, and it simply just goes to the archive tab up here, but remains in the same stage that you can then pull back anytime you want by clicking restore. So super helpful for managing that pipeline, keeping everything very, very clean. The completed button, what that's going to do is when the file's actually done, it's been funded, now you want to set it up for renewal tracking, you'll click the completed button and that will move it to the completed tab, which is then a renewal tracker with all these different timelines. So 0 to 3 months, 3 to 12 months, and so on. And the files will automatically move amongst those stages as they get closer to maturity. And you can customize these timelines however you want as well. So that's the main aspect of the pipeline itself. But what makes Broki so special is most other platforms kind of end right there. Whereas, like I mentioned, you're going to do your entire workflow through Broki. So when you click into a mortgage file, you'll see all the mortgage details associated with that file. And this will all be getting pulled from Finmo or Velocity. However, you can edit it manually as well. You'll see the contacts down below and then all your tabs along the top. I know now it does seem overwhelming because there's a lot, but you get used to it quite fast. And it's really because you're going to do everything in here that we need all these different aspects. So one of the big ones is the document section. This is where you can request documents from your client. As you can see, we already have 3 document requests in here, a notice of assessment, a pay stub, and a T4. If I want to ask for more from that client, I go request documents. I select the client I want it from. I select the documents I want. I click create request and it adds it to the queue. Now that didn't actually send anything to the client. To send them a document request, what I got to do is click this document reminder button up at the top. Click on the borrower that I want to receive that. It'll automatically outline your templated message that you have down below that you can customize prior to sending out. put all the documents that you asked for with the headline and the description. And as they start to send these in and you start to approve them, this list gets smaller and smaller. So very easy to stay on top of gathering those documents. So that's how you send the document requests. I'm going to show you quickly what it looks like when a document's actually uploaded. It'll show as pending. Now you have a couple different options. You can preview the document, you can download it, you can convert it to a PDF, you can approve it, and you can reject it. Now, when you reject it, it lets you write a little note on why it was rejected. That way, the next time the client goes into their portal, they see that note of why it was rejected, and they also see it in those document reminders. Another cool thing is it's going to auto rename the document. So once you approve this document, it's actually going to auto rename the title of the document, the client's name, and the document that you asked for. So very, very helpful of just auto renaming those documents. That way your underwriter is getting things already pre-labeled. You're not spending 20, 30 minutes outlining that. So with that being said, I'm going to hop over into the client portal aspect and show you what it looks like there. So within the client portal, this is what their documents tab looks like. They have the document that we already approved, as well as all the other documents. Now, the cool thing is I don't have it set up right now in this demo account, but these document templates where you're asking for the documents, in your template section, you can actually upload sample documents to the templates. And then that way it'll actually give them an example. There'll be a button that says view sample, and it'll give them an example of what you're actually looking for. So very, very easy for the client to know exactly what you're asking for, and very clear and easy to understand where to upload and how many are remaining and so on. So another couple tabs that I'm going to go over in the client portal, because that's one of the big aspects, is providing your client with a better experience. The application status tab shows them exactly where they're at in the process. So this is essentially where they're at in your pipeline, but you can also hide stages. So if there's stages in your pipeline that don't apply to the client, you can hide them in your settings, and then that way it's only showing the stages that are applicable to them. It just minimizes all the back and forth, all the updates. They know exactly where they're at. They can check anytime. There's also the team section where you can assign different realtors and lawyers. The way you would do that is you would go to the advisors tab on your side, and you would add in a realtor, add in a lawyer. If you do have an underwriter or assistant that's working with you, you can add them here as well. And those will all show up in the client portal's team section. Now, another cool thing is you can outline different qualification scenarios directly within this platform. So if you're doing pre-approvals for clients, you don't actually need to write those in emails and then them get lost over time. You can have it all centralized in one spot. To do that, you go to the qualification tab. We already have one, an example one built out right here, where essentially you would click create scenario. This configuration would pop down and you can fill this out, which is then outlining their pre-approval, and then any kind of email or notes that you would have written, you can write in the notes section here. It's also nice because you can write internal notes. So if there was something that you want to remember of what you used to qualify this client, or a specific program or strata fee amounts or tax amounts or whatever, you can put those in the internal notes. The clients don't see that, but at least you can refer back to it. Now, every single section in here can be removed from the assessment. So sales proceeds, if they're not actually selling their house, you would just untoggle this portal button and it would remove that from the scenario. I'll show you what that looks like in the client portal right now. So in the client portal, the qualifications tab essentially looks like this. They might have multiple different ones. They might have 1, 2, maybe 3, even 4. One might be purchasing with a car paid out versus purchasing without the car paid out. And so they see a snapshot of exactly what they qualify for. And then when they click view full details, they can see all your notes, your big write-up that you did that you would normally just have in an email, financial summary, all the different rate options you outlined if you wanted to include that, and the sale proceeds breakdown of how you actually got their leftover down payment funds. So very clear and easy to understand. And it's nice because you can have it all central in one spot and they can look back at multiple different scenarios. The next tab within the client portal is the offers tab. This is huge. This has been a game changer. This is for if they're actually going to get the mortgage, they have the accepted offer, or they want to refinance, and you're trying to outline which lender is going to be the best option for them. The offers tab right here is where you can actually compare different lender options side by side and also list out the different pros and cons. And you would easily do that in your admin side in the offers tab right here. where it's essentially just this widget that you go through and you fill out. And then once you have one filled out, you can just duplicate it a bunch of times and tweak it slightly. Very, very handy for outlining different lender and rate options to your clients. It's been a game changer in our business and many others that have started to use this. One thing I want to mention with this client portal is that you can customize the branding however you want. Obviously, you might not want these colors to be all different at the top. You might want to match it with your branding. You can do that in your settings. This is just the default. So you could have, if your branding's all, say, blue and orange, you could have it blue and orange. You could have them all blue and then other aspects orange. It's really up to what you want to do. And the nice thing is if there are tabs in this client portal that you don't use or you don't think you'll use, you can actually remove them. So if you don't think you'll use the qualification tab, you want to stick to your emails, that's totally fine. You can just remove that qualification tab in your settings. So then that way the client portal is just what you're actually going to be using. So very, very customizable. Moving back over to our side, a couple things I wanted to touch on that weren't explained in the client portal is we got our notes section here. This is where you can add a note, give it a title, give it content. And if you actually have a team member that you want to tag, you can tag a team member. And then when you save that note, it's actually going to send that note in an email to them with a button to access the file. So a very easy way to transition and hand off files to one another if you're working in a team setting. The checklist tab, this is where you can add different checklists for different stages in the process. So you don't have to manually add these. You can have them automatically get created when it reaches a certain stage in your pipeline. But for now, just for example purposes, we have this submitted a lender checklist. This would typically get set up so when you move it to submitted a lender, it automatically puts this checklist into this file. And this is basically just saying a bunch of items that you decided you do during that process. So our submitted a lender checklist would essentially be verify the realtor on the file is in the database already, and if not, add them. Same thing with the lawyer or notary, and then create follow-up tasks to follow up with the client for those updated documents that we're asking for. So just an easy way to have a set standard operating procedure for every single stage in the process. That way your client is getting the same repetitive process and experience every single time, so you can actually fully optimize it and find out where the bottlenecks are. Now, a lot of brokers use tasks. We still do have that. Those are called to-dos, and you can either create them manually, you can assign them to people, you can add due dates, or you can create them through automation. So when a new file is created or when a stage changes, you can set that up in the automations tab. But we do have both options for you. Now, compliance, I just want to go over this tab quickly. This is where you can configure your checklist of items that your brokerage requires. That way you can just go through one by one and make sure that you have everything. So you would just mark them off as you have them, and then you know what's remaining. And then once you have everything ready to go, this prepare compliance documents button will open a module where you can then select every single document that you've ever had uploaded to the portal. You can rearrange them in whatever way you want, and then compress and merge them all into one, which you can then grab, bring over to your Velocity, bring over to your Finmo, and fire off for compliance. So it makes it much, much easier to package everything up. The last thing I want to go over in this mortgage file section is just the fact that we got all these different email modules at the top. So we got underwriter. If you do have an underwriter that you work with, you can fire off an email to them. You can label different urgencies amounts, so whether it's a rush request or not. You can tell them what you need to have done, give them the little message of what you want done in the middle, and then reference the file as well. So easy way to transition off to underwriters, and then you got your sync with Velocity button. So this is going to be sync with Finmo. If Finmo's connected, we have Velocity connected right now. We do connect with both, so we are fully integrated with both. But essentially, we're not going to be pulling the info all the time, because we want to make sure that if you're customizing stuff in Velocity, it's not messing up the stuff in Broki. So when everything is ready to go and it's all correct in Velocity, you would click this sync button, and then it would pull all the fresh data over. So you'll get all the data when the application is initially filled out, but then you'll also get all fresh data whenever you click this sync button. So very, very easy to make sure all the data is fresh and you're not manually entering anything. So now that I've gone over the mortgage file, the only other thing I want to go over in this demo, because there's way too much to go over in one call, and to be honest, there is a 45-day free trial. So if you need to, you can just sign up, play around with it. but the other main benefit of this platform is the partners tab. If you're someone that works with realtors, lawyers, whoever, this is a great resource for them. So you can add your real estate agents, your notaries, to your platform, and when you tag them to those files in that advisors tab, they then have those files associated with them. So if I click into this realtor partner, Tom Cruise, has all the different files that he's associated with, and if I want to update him on where that file's at in the process, all I got to do is select the client, go send update, and it's automatically going to draft up a nice email with the stage of where that client's at. You'll also notice that it does say open partner portal, and that's because every single partner of yours, every single realtor, every single lawyer will have their own personal portal that they can go onto at any point in time to see where their referrals or where their clients are at in the process. I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So I'm going to go open portal. So this is the portal. Again, the branding is going to be your branding. So the colors, once you set your company colors, it will change all this to that. But right now it's just set to blue. But it shows the referral partner, shows all the files that they have, and you can see them all along here in the process, or the percentage of where they're at in the process. And then if you click into the file, they can actually see a more in-depth view of where they're at, like what stage they're at and what's still remaining, as well as everyone's contact info. If you have assistants and underwriters, they'll show here, and some key dates. Now, it is important to understand that all the branding on here that says Broki, that would get replaced with your own company logos. So just keep that in mind. So now that I've gone over that, the only other thing I want to mention is we do have a community group that you can access through the community tab on your sidebar. And this is a Discord community group where we're going to be doing training pretty much every single day on different aspects of the platform. So although we're not doing one-on-one demos anymore, just because the volume is getting very high, we have this video to cover all the main features. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us through that Discord group, and we're very responsive. Or you can hop into any of the daily trainings and get support there. So without further ado, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope you take the time to sign up and check us out. We do have a 45-day free trial, and if you do sign up and go to the Get Started page, this video tutorial will go over everything when it goes to connecting your Velocity or your Finmo, connecting your email, importing your mortgage files, and so on. And if you have any trouble whatsoever, hop in that Discord group, send us a message. We're more than happy to help. So thank you so much for watching, and looking forward to seeing you on the inside. Thanks. Bye-bye.